Hello. Hope everyone's having a half decent day today. Hello, Sphinx. Hello, anybody else in chat? Doing more just justice for all. Days be good? Hell yeah. What'd you do today? Once again, suffering because of a crippling novel addiction, but that makes sense. Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there'll be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence. I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer. Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Mia? You must get a complete acquittal today. I know. I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. Oh boy. This is right. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney, the day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. Okay. For my sake as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world what you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and to win today's contest. If you please. Wait. The kidnapper sent me a present. Mr. Lawyer, dude, who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Ha ha ha, Pinocchio reference. Anyway, so what's your novel about today, Sphinx? Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Ongard. As are the prosecution and defense ready? Defense is ready, Your Honor. Okay. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor. Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. You must tell me something. Please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. Oh. Well, fuck. What? Shot? Somehow, I think this is the presence that man was talking about. His presence. Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it'd be to your advantage. This is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Whew. I thought he'd show up. Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Von Karma cannot appear in court today. Finally, Miss Spantless party stream today. I was lurking. I'm sorry. Besides that, I spent the morning shoveling, so I wanted to keep my pants on and warm up. I'm sort of disappointed. But I hope it was good anyways. Also, Sphinx, I forgot if I showed you. Do you enjoy my Edgeworth Elohim? Miles Edgeworth will be taking her place. Oh, okay. Prosecution is ready, naturally. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I've looked this case over and I'm familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ongard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. I love Edgeworth's theme. I miss this bad. So did I. Edgeworth is a really good character. Witness, your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now. After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Aw, poor detective. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. I think that was meant to cheer him up because he used his title. Yes, sir. Well, let's have your testimony. If you want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. You have Dick in your name right. Fuck's sake, Sphinx. Yeah. It would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Oh, hello, Pris. Show me this Edgeworth you finally, show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. I almost said Edgeworth. You finally show me your answer. Whatever. I woke up. Oh, I'm sorry. Why am I getting alerts? This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Garita, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered. Sir. At first, there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant went alone to their room, sir. I completely missed it. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes awards. Go press on that. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony. Ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8. Then there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start at the lobby 30 minutes later. That's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony. Alright. 6 to 8, half-hour break. How was he murdered? The cause of death. Wasn't that because Mr. Kirito was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good look, hard look at the crime photo. Now, real suppose attention would be drawn here to this bandana. His bandana, sir. There's a thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Ah, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. Why? And what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. They're a crafty murderer on our hands here. Strangled with a scarf. At 8:15, so it is during the break. At first we thought there was something suspicious about the guitar case. Why'd you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? The fan really wanted the guitar, did the crime to get it. How's that? My boob hurts? Why? Remove it. We thought of that too, but only fingerprints in the guitar case with victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. That's so much for my theory then. What would you do with the boob after it? Just keep it with you then? I found out it was good. I'll convince you it had nothing to do with the case. Send it to the post. To who? Who would you send it to? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Oh, then where was it? The bright good guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Kirito, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So the guitar case was empty before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. It really had nothing to do with the case after all. Huh. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest? Why didn't the police arrest Matt Engarde? Because there was reason enough to suspect him. Why the smug, Pris? Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Oh, boob away. Nice. Very well, Detective Gumshoe. Please testify about the matter. Yes, sir. Matt Engarde and Juan Kirito were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in the way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off the costume and was found in Mr. Engarde's Hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes it a premeditated murder. So the defendant's fingerprints were on the knife used in the stabbing. I just realized I forgot to enable everything on my avatar. Alright, there we go. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clear, sir. And there's this button. I was found in the defendant clothes, was it? Wizard stuff, yeah. Man, I haven't seen Final Spin used in a long time. And is this button also covered in blood? Yes, and we know the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? All of this points very clearly to defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? Huh. I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Don't see anything to press. I'm gonna press this one. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. OnGuard was beating Mr. Kurita in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective? It's not, well... I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive. Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. Oh. I have the plague or something? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Have you done any tests? No, not you too, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. That's... I look forward to your pension negotiations. No! Now, detective, let's continue with the testimony. Oh, I'm... Oh... Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. I can talk about my pension later, sir. What was I saying? Hello? Anyone? As for evidence, there's the Gem Ninjas button. Sure. Actually, give me a second. No, I'm not gonna say that. They don't prove that the button belonged to the victim. Huh? What do you mean? Okay, let me put it this way. I'm asking if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off the Gem Ninja's costume. Huh? But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on it afterwards. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir. Alright, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously. And that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it's a perfect match. Yeah, they're a perfect match, pal. Hey. That's Edgeworth for you, never misses a beat. When was this button found? Oh. Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded everyone up who knew Mr. Kurita. And then we did a search on them all. That's when we found the button. Oops, fuck. The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what is he trying to say about me here? Defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. Just remember, puke before you puke, because no one likes the smell of shit. The fuck? Should it be the other way around then? Oh, no, never mind. I get it. How are the fingerprints arranged on the knife? Oh, what do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I threw about the window with it being 10:30 in the winter and my face is numb from the cold. Yeesh. I can't believe that the bumbling of this department. Hopeless, were you paying attention to the testimony rate? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There was no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. So, is the defendant the owner of this knife then? The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes it a premeditated murder. There is no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Well, this is not good. Prosecution can prove it was a premeditated murder. We were done for. Phoenix? Yes? There's something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. Judging more rash, would have already pounded his gavel closer. Find the enemy's weakness. What did he say? It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Oh no, it's bought the knife. That's the problem. Wait a second. Oh, what? So the basis of your argument is that a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name before. That's the name of the hotel, the Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. No, Gumshoe, please no. The murder knife was actually the property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. Huh? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this night. Whatever. There's no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough to not realize this. But I didn't. Oh. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Kurta's room. Sorry, Honor, but that's incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I like to draw coarse attention to what is on top of the table. There is a knife and a fork on the table. Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I'd like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ongard. Especially what was on top of his table. There's something missing. Perhaps, is it a single knife? I don't know. The wife could have had, like, a husband and children, or something. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Ongard's knife was missing. Mr. Ongard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife to visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. It seemed like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There's quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your Honor's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? Yeah, it means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? I am cautious. Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that Gavlas will be singing the sound of defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? Hey, Sion, how's it going? Oh, thank you for the hydrate. And the buzzer check. How are you doing? What the fuck do I do? Bored? Ah. Do I have something important? There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright. I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance. And only one. What the judge is saying, don't try playing one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. Your neighbors out one and only... Holy crap, that bar. Oh boy. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court? This is a wine glass, is it not? Did I actually choose right? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because the victim struggled against his assailant. I just shot in the dark and hoped. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all things at one point that were sitting on top of the dresser. Well, yes, I see your point. However, this glass that's sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you have all to say? Ah, well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there was no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? There's no way? If I appear weak here, the trial is over. I could put it. Fucking right-clicking. I just might fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. I wish you have wine at them. It's tomato juice. It's not wine. Defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We'd like to see something that proves that Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. Tomato, whatever, yeah. You've turned the situation on its head as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? Oh, I'm fucked here, aren't I? You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it has been thoroughly inspected. For fingerprints. Fingerprints. There are only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? Bears Andrews' fingerprints. Okay. That's why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? I can't believe it until I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Carita. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. But that means there was another person who interacted for a long period of time at the crime scene. Now, what you just said makes a lot of sense. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Now do you see, right? You can't change any part of my scenarios. It explains everything all too well. I thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I've come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we could like the court to hear from. Another witness? A normal, average, shocked person would have likely dropped it and not carefully set it down. I mean, I don't want a massive fucking bill from the hotel. I would set it down normally. Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation. Gotcha. This is a walking Mr. Lightbulb? No, it's an old lady. What happened to that calm composure you had earlier? Oh, edgy boy, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the port with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand. I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Yeah, she's not going to be helpful. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Shush. I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Oh, I hate reading this. Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, madam. No, please, by all means interrupt her, please. Anyways, witness, your testimony, please. See what they say, that youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. He's trying so hard to keep his composure. But this is from the previous game, where she was a previous witness and she was just in love with Edgeworth. Is this correct, Miss Oldbag? It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean you are a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that on-guard, saying he's cute and a fresh boy or something. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida. But those two are the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Meryl, please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. I hated reading that. I hated it. After the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when Sholmes showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was Enguarde, Matt Enguarde. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. If it's his Hakama, that means he was in costume. She wouldn't have known. Yeah, you stuck with her? Oh, so Mr. Enguarde came out from the victim's room. See, it has to be him. He's the murderer. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in front of his room. Something interesting. Okay, I wanted to figure out this one. Something you were interested in? And just what was that? It's some little thing I could just go around telling everyone, you know? It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy Poo, of course. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? Oh, fuck it. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now. And the witness staying in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time. I gotta turn off this right click. Okay, I disabled it. I've returned from slavery. Welcome back. How's it going? But should it prove relevant, we can always have her append their testimony later. Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Curtis' room? I have no idea. I wasn't born so I can count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. So you know how my mom now works at this naturist pharmacy now? She got me fucking crystal what? Like, is it sticky or, like, smells of anything? I'm gonna need pictures. I'm curious as to what you mean by, like, a crystal deodorant. Like a salt crystal. Does it smell like anything? I'm gonna need pictures. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. Yeah, I'll also explain why your age was not included in the report. In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct? That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. Who in the world was that? I'm not allowed to say. Sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of the Juan's room? He was. Yes, he was? I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Francisco's whip right about now. Well, I guess I can tell you, since he was such a bad boy anyway. He was on guard, Matt on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Matt Juan's room. Saw my client. Are you sure about that? Yes, see. Really? Annoying brat when I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve in a bit further. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters. But it does. What was it? Oh yes. It was that thing. What thing? Like, how do you think he's always wearing that racing jacket? He was wearing that at the he was wearing... I swear it was gonna lead towards, like, him wearing his costume. But why was he wearing his... That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. So, Mr. Wright. Was this testimony important or relevant in any way? Yes, because he was not wearing his pants. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you'd like to point that out, what part of that testimony was important. How'd you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I can see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please. Oh, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must... He was wearing his flashy racing jacket and all I see is just for show. I'm gonna press on this to be able to sure. Are you sure the defendant was wearing a racing jacket? What do you think? It's not like I've seen him in anything other than that horrible thing. I'm sure he was wearing it. She's so sure of herself that it's to the point of self-absorption. She may not remember things or be mistaken here and there, but I don't think she's lying. Raising to bust a nut. Nice. That is... really interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm talking about the crystal deodorant. Is it like if you hit it like against an object, like does it make like a rock noise or you know, like the clunk 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 kind of thing? That's bad for us, really bad. But that's how the human mind is. It also has a tendency to jump off topic. She's strayed onto a few interesting side topics this time too, hasn't she? That's what makes her a sweet old lady, right? That's because you're not the one to question her. Rock noise? Interesting. Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? Ah, it's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She's identified in a single glance. Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Wow. She really is a diehard fan that to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Enguarde's body during a full body search. See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was that rascal Enguarde. It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai Hakama pants. See? See? And Enguarde is the nickel samurai. Witness. Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination. But just now, didn't you say the defendant, Matt Enguarde, was wearing his usual racing jacket? I'm so sorry. So that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress... Okay, whatever. I love how I just read off the first thing in a rant, and I just go like, oh, whatever, afterwards. It's like a glue stick, but like dry and soapy. Oh, I mean, it says aloe vera on the stick, so I'd assume it tastes like aloe vera. Now hold your tongue still for 1 second. So you saw, in actuality, was not Mr. Enguarde the man, but Mr. Enguarde the nickel samurai. But when you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Echipu, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say important, but agree with me for a change. Wait, think carefully and now try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Yeah. Enguarde. Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai. That's right, it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. I knew it. I knew you'd say he's inside that costume. What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy. Think it's not true things. But the possibility does exist. Ah, youngest today. I told you, there's no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so, and what I say is the truth. I made some microwave rice. Nice. Microwave rice is pretty good. At least she's just as delightful as a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you made a cross-examine the witness. I'm using chopsticks, thinking the kids are using fingers. Nice. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not? Not too long ago. Let me ask you this. When you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what? I didn't feel like doing dishes again? I mean, okay. Just make sure you have a protein or something, too. Like what you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Well, what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? Now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past. All that matters is that man was inside that costume. Isn't that enough? I just got an achievement called Judge Wagner. Spanish rice. I don't think that's very much protein. But I mean, you do you. Just try to look out for people's health is all. Well-balanced meals and all that. I'm just saying, Sion. I have my own cooking show now. I kind of have to care about the public's health. I'm fucking around. Would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. And why would that be? That way no one can see his face, of course. But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think the costume would make him stand out all the more. He was such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say. Isn't that what you're always doing to me? I got it, maybe it's more troublesome for it to change in and out of his costume. He has to go to that post-ceremony stage right after the crime, you know. I was eating meat earlier? Oh, okay. I have cashews on my desk? Okay. Like I said, I'm only trying to look out for you guys' health. I'm sorry if I ever seem pushy about that kind of thing. And this goes to everyone. Was there anyone else scheduled to appear at the post-ceremony show? What help? I mean, if you're still living, you have health. Even if it's 10%, even if it's 100%, I still care for you guys. All the contestants were supposed to go to an on-stage and a friendly gesture thing. Did that include the Gem Ninja? Of course it included him. That's why when Enguarde came out of Dear One's room, I didn't give it a second thought. That's him sad? Aww. Eat as a child! Well, anyway. So I must have worn that nickel samurai costume when he was stabbing poor one. Sorry, excuse me. So let me ask you one more time. The person you saw was really the nickel samurai? As showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning? Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one, huh? There's a contradiction in their testimony. It's sitting in plain sight. The question is what the contradiction means for us. Hiding in plain sight? I fucking blew it. Hiding in plain sight. Oh, I pressed on one. He's got gloves on. It shouldn't come up with the fingerprints, right? Please take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Is that what you're driving at? That's exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving? Mr. Enguarde was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder. That's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. Oh, that's right, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendants had no intent to murder. He's probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still took place. It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim. Yes, I've heard that before. They're really making it like an old married couple? Yeah. Yeah. I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? There is a contradiction because the knife comes from his room. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you babbling about? Now for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Enguarde was a killer. If that was the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. I'd have to present the knife again, wouldn't I? This knife, this was used by Mr. Enguarde at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that my client was, in fact, the killer. Then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Kurita. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendants held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, there should be glove marks on the left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. Or flies on shit. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Ugh, sorry. Order, I say. Order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Who the fuck is this cat? I think Elohim has gas. Because he's sitting behind me, and he keeps occasionally like stinks around me, but it's not me. I think he might be kitty farting. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? He's coming for your ass? No, he's laying down. And to frame my client, Mr. Enguarde, of course. To frame. Aren't you enforcing the interpretation a little too hard on this one? Well, I just established the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. Now, if that were true, then there shouldn't be a fingerprint on this knife. Witness? Looks like I made your life a tiny bit more difficult, huh, Jipu? Witness, or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you missed up Mr. Enguarde with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I really can't do anything about that now. Like, I was waiting around in front of the doors because, well... I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who are you waiting for? That's top secret to anyone outside of security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Carrito. Am I correct, witness? The way you think, you are a sad amateur with terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Old Bag was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was went to catch a glimpse of Mr. Carrito. Maybe Phoenix. Maybe the Old Bag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Old Bag. You're waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, were you not? Who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Enguarde's manager. But why would the defendant manager be in the victim's room? Seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Give me a second. Huh. Oh, this is... Well, this is... Ah, I see. Gossip in court, yeah. The judge seemed to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. Now this manager with the initials A, are you saying it's... Adrian Andrews, without a doubt. The witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then. Witness? What in the world are you? Watch out, Phoenix. I got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information, some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how do you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this, however, I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about the secret information. Get ready. This is going to take the wind out of you, young'uns. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old. That Enguarde is one evil, evil man. He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay? And the entire country. Vincent as manager, what a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Never heard that one before. Miss Edgeworth, what is this Adrian Andrews person? I've looked at this matter. I found out the truth the article proposes, in fact, baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards the victim. So it means I have to smash this rumor once and for all. Sorry, excuse me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, now, the Arngard is nothing but your average flower-blooded youth. Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Okay. Oh. Give me a second. I'm having some strange, like, skipping issues. Okay, I think they subsided. That Arngard is one evil, evil man. That could ruin poor one by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with one. So what do you mean by I took action? Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was going to capture her and teach her a good lesson. Something you youngins need. You're going to teach her a good lesson? I was going to make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun. Like this. No, stop. Well, it was too bad that woman didn't come through that door that night. Top secret, you got that nobody else but you and me know yet. Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet. That's true, then how do you know the secret information? Oh, well that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drill a hole into my brain, you'll never find out. How in the world did an old bat get such a secret piece of information? I'm gonna try something here. So no one else is supposed to know the secret information, correct? That's true, then why do you know it, Miss Oldbag? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that. Witness. I hate to say it, but this is how you came to acquire your secret info, isn't it? It would have to be the camera, wouldn't it? Fuck. Oh, never mind. The investigative photographer, Lotta Hart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing. On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her outraged impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? Fucking got her. Outrageous ideas, you say? No, I said impressions. Then... Did everything I've written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless? Ah, that's it. That's note. Ah. No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy. Then you're the one who took Miss Hart's note? I'm a huge fan of Florence, that's why. That infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper. She's working with that evil Enguarde. She said so herself. Enguarde, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgepoo, you believe me, don't you? Ugh. I was only trying to help out that like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before. Really should have come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. That's going to my React folder. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just once. She looked like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? Oh, this is gonna be super damaging. Apply a little more pressure. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness. Said that the only thing you stole is that note. Is this correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible, lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. I'm putting my credibility under scrutiny again. Miss Oldbag. I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. Miss Oldbag. That note was with a camera, and inside its case. That note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweetie, $1,600 camera disappeared on me." Why, witness! What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for? Ah, that's... What, even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? I still eat meals like you. I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card and that's when I noticed that it said, Slime Bake Celebrity Photograph Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of pictures that she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. Actually hardcore slapped Oldbag. Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry. We must examine them at once. Nice. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case. Please present it to the court. This is the Nickel Samurai. Yeah, it's definitely too short. Look at the pants. See, I told you. That's the guy I saw. This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant, however. In his own confession, Matt Enguarde clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that's the case, then this Nickel Samurai is... No, it's not. The defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Did y'all have rehearsals for your graduation? I'm trying to remember. Not from my college one, no. I don't remember if I did one for high school. Part of me wants to say yes. You're too old for this? Well, considering it's been, what, 8 years since I've been in high school or something like that? Something like that. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? Yeah, this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. Can't make a mistake here, there's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took. There's something strange with it. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right? Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree that there was nothing strange with this photo. There was no way to debunk this photo, even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. I really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo. And you should only need one chance, correct? Well... I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. Why the heck does she take this photo from anyways? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange? I like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankles, that would be one thing. However, you can't. Give me a second. I got an itch on my arm. And? What does this mean? The causing person in this photo could not have been Mr. Enguarde. What is the meaning of this? His dick is bigger. I've seen it in person. It's flat, like there's an absence of penis. I wonder if you could care to elaborate, with actual facts that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks, you can see his socks. Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person on the side of this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack? Did I haven't damaged his case at all? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Ongard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt Ongard. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who is the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. Why should we focus on his Edgeworth's attitude? Don't you think? Yeah, why is he so calm? That's right, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Why am I suddenly nervous about this? Adrian Andrews? If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it is none other than this woman. Why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short. And she can freely move in and out of Mr. Ongard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ongard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Ongard's fingerprints all over it. That was used as a murder weapon. Why don't you just say what it is you want, right? After this now, this is my chance to turn things around. The defendant moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews and the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order. Looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor? This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. Huh? What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to the court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day, If I don't get a verdict today, then then we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. Oh, fuck. I have saved a lot this time. Now then. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she's not. I abhor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. Oh, thank heavens. But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Tisk. Unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor. And what do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man? Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Actually, quite badass. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. Oh, fuck. Okay. Alright. Should I keep going? I mean, this part took an hour and a half. So, we gotta figure out... Like, if we do the second part of this trial, I don't know if there'll be more trial. Probably not. Trials usually take 2 parts. What do you think, Sphinx? No? Alright. You know, I'll continue on. Dude, I can't believe that Adrian... No way. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She is manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? Yeah, that was very much the face of the murderer. I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have easily planted the blood-covered button in your Hakama. She de-pantsed him. Because she was the one who came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it was really her? Yeah, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Corrida. But, why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? Where the fuck is my phone? The fuck? Am I sitting on it? No. I'll probably find it later. I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Get me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix? You think our motive is related to Celeste Impax's missing suicide note, right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax's as her strength and reason to live. but the Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. Sounds like she's left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Kurita, the victim of this murder. That's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Kurita. I'll have to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. One thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? The cops? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts. Oh, it was Edgeworth. It was Edgeworth. Like he's still holding on, still the one in command of the ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Court will now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. Prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. It's Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime at Mr. Juan Kurita's room. What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ongard. I see. Now then. Before we can begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yeah, sure, what is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing. I'd love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never heard of I've never heard of Gossipland. Have you ever heard of prosecution's witness? You do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relationship to the victim. You know, I'd like to see an Ace Attorney game where the judge is like a defendant. You know, I think it would be hilarious. Sorry, I'm scratching my ears. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Kurita. I was also aware of the rivalry that exists between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was it a bait and fry thing? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim, now, Mr. Andrews. Very well. Witness, please testify to the court. But what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place? It's time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And the other was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as the crime, exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Ew. Oh boy, pouring yourself tomato juice when you're about to faint? That just sounds like a recipe for just throwing up all over the place. I would something like water, not something sweet or savory. Pour yourself a glass of juice. Yes, sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the sign of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And as then when the fingerprints, that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix? She is one cool and collected customer, she has the brains to match. Yes, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant this trial is over. Understand? Now it's time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. Seems reasonable. After that, I went to Juan's room. Why? Why'd you do that? As a friendly gesture, one was to make an appearance with the other heroes. Has Maya been by our side at all this game? Yes. Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon? What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to them, correct? So perhaps you had a more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. Alright, continue now. Witness, what did you see when you got to his room? And there was the dead body. I was in shock. Well, reasonably so. Hey, tiny fuzzy boy. Lick, 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 lick. That's all you do is lick, 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 lick. What? Was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Kurita. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock. I can't seriously expect that a young lady like her would not be in shock. Somehow I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. Naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. Is this the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like that too? Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There was no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down, without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I'd like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Kurita, you were in great shock. That's when you poured yourself a glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I don't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. Oh, we got her. What was she starting to say just now? Miss Andrews. I'm convinced that you said you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know was what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry, it's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor of the crime scene photo? The mess of glass shards? No, she couldn't have. Because she said the guitar case was already open. It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to Jessamone. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over. It fell into the guitar case. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. What kind of flower vase was it? It was a glass vase. It was fairly big and heavy. I thought I would try to take. Try to take Juan's pulse. So they set the glass I was holding down on the dresser. That's when my elbow accidentally hit the vase. You testify that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell into the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what's so strange. So I'm trying to balance the sound here. It looked a little low. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, that was true. The case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. And what is that? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. What is wrong with that? The guitar case was open when the vase fell. The glass shard should be inside, not on the outside of the case. What's your point, right? The case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? Now, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did implicitly say that she didn't touch the guitar case. But with this whole matter with the guitar case and its dead ends, bright red guitar was found at the studio and had no bearing on this case at all. That very may be, however. The empty guitar case does seem to have no real relation to this case, doesn't it? It seems there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Yeah, let's make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. Can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along for now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I guess it's too loud now. After I knocked, I must have opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Looks like this wasn't wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that's almost comforting. Anyways, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. I wish she's antagonizing us. I don't remember a bit too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I must have not opened the guitar case after I knocked the vase over. So, you opened the guitar case then? Yes, well, maybe. Why'd you open the guitar case? Huh? Mr. Crowder's dead body was right there in front of you, wasn't it? I would think the first thing you would do is call for help, not open a guitar case. As the witness said multiple times when she found the dead body. Hello, Kitty. Okay, thanks, Elaine. She was dazed. Maybe I was curious to know if the bright red guitar was real right or not. I thought maybe the criminal took it. Why would she care about that bright red guitar? But getting back on topic. It's not a big deal, though the case was empty after all. Was it really empty? I was just wondering if maybe when you opened the case, the guitar was still inside. How long have you been a lawyer, Mr. Wright? Have a little professionalism. Rare guitar was found at the studio. These trials would be over in half the time if you just pay attention. Yes, pay more attention, Mr. Wright. Sorry. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Was it because you were shocked and dazed at discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not gonna get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. I'll make her talk as with evidence. I guess I should give it a try. I'm gonna go for a crapshoot here. Maybe the costume was inside the case. Nope. Fuck. I don't get this one. During your testimony just now, did you remember those events clearly in your mind? Well, you see, are you sure you're the one who opened the guitar case? She's waiting for someone to tell her if she should answer or not. Sounds like an independent side has taken over. Well, Miss Andrews? Yes, it was me. Oh, is she looking for the suicide note? Fuck. Oh my goodness, I am not doing well this one. Fuck. Anybody have any ideas? Oh, what? There's no way you're the one who opened the guitar case. Why'd you, oh, because it bears his fingerprints. Oh. Why'd you say it? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints on just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves, but why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony. So of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of the thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That's strange. You're wearing gloves, isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this glass. Ah. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Oh, wow. She just shattered glass in her eye and just badassedly put another pair on. Order, order, order. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. Well, it's just an empty case. I wonder if it was really empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red studio, Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was the guitar case that was not the bright red guitar? Or what was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar? You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves, despite the fact that on the case... Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic, and lull us onto his misguided. No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in the... Oh, son of a bitch, sorry. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you are so sure, right? Then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything at all to do with this murder. I got a fucking itch on my leg. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been found in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing. A black guitar. So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty? Is that outright? I want say something I didn't intend to prove. The plate that head of yours, you haven't proved anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? Oh boy, This is the photograph. Yes, but what's important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. Payne? You alright, Sphinx? In this picture. Doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... inside the guitar case is a Nickel Samurai. The hero's very own costume. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she can make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you really think to support such a preposterous idea? She saw outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get the shot, correct? You mean this photo? Order, order. It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding in a costume. Oh, wait, one second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Engarde's. Something of the defendant's being the victim's room. And inside the guitar case of all places. True, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What is this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? It was a spare costume? Mr. Engarde did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there are 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Yes, that is what I'm saying. And how do you explain the costume was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had brought the spirit to the ceremony on purpose. But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the Jammin Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai's spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer, and then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... The reason the victim brought the... Oh, the confession! What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up right. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Enguarde himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can only mean one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself. The victim? Yes. A spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold a press conference as a nickel samurai. He was going to dress up as the nickel samurai and hold a conference. But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I'm concerned with is now what he intended to reveal at the conference. The nickel samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I was wagering he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the nickel samurai, was going to speak about Matt Enguarde. Yes, I guess that's what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's a public disclosure. Miss Andrews, I can see why you're pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan. Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me. You. Juan had to bet everything on the Gem and Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought anyway. He's going to ruin him, huh? It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? How do you know what the secret of Mr. Enguarde's is, Miss Andrews? That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is. I see. So I'm just watching Elohim chase a ball. I see. I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone. But that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt after all. Protect Mr. Enguarde. And yet again another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. Okay. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. Defense can find no fault with this testimony. I'm ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this internal logic upside down. Why would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Sorry. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. And if you think these 2 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school. At least not from what I remember. May I continue now? And had to kill no matter what. Why? So I just say this need came from the press conference? Yes, do you know why Juan chose that event and that hotel for the conference? Because that's when it could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt Engarde. And you know this plan, didn't you, Miss Andrews? Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Engarde didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that this information was not in your testimony. Yes, I agree. Miss Andrews, please correct your testimony if you please. Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, and I don't have any way to prove that I'm right. Has Mr. Engarde done something to hurt or betray you personally? Why do you ask? You're the one who helped Mr. Kurta with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Engarde, yet you still helped out. What's not trial right now is Mr. Engarde, right? Well, the witness was thinking helping the victim with his plan is none of our concern. In any case, this means the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Engarde was taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Engarde? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he was honestly sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping with the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time. I'll think of the hydrate. Thank you for the posture check. You doing alright, Sphinx? Okay, just double checking me, dude. When's your, I just restarted my laptop. I see. That's like, When's your, rehearsal? Too busy setting up the stage at the time. I keep trying, but I cannot find flaws with that what Miss Andrews had said. I can't say the same for some people in this courtroom, however. The judge is glaring straight at me, He's glaring at you, smart guy. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course. The button and the knife. You can hardly call the knife decisive evidence. Fingerprints on the knife could very well be cover camouflage. Then what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. Now during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the Jammin Ninja's costume. Talking about this button, correct? That button was found on the pleats of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I think that makes it very decisive evidence. Thanks for your outfox again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. Can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That button was torn off of Juan during his fight with Matt. It couldn't have because there's blood on it. What? So everyone's clear country. What? And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they are found to fit together perfectly. Or sorry, heard. I heard that before too. Well, why would Miss Andrews know about this case to such fine detail? Don't look at me like that, just because I'm prepared and you're not. But I thought at first that I had this stuff for sure. If there's anything to trip her up on, it has to be here. But where and what? I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. But what you really did was stab the guy in the back, didn't you? Now, at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? This witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Enguarde at any time. Why then would she have to wait until when there's such a large audience before doing so? Same reason why Mr. Curta planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Enguarde as much damage as she possibly could. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. This is the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please stop slandering the witness. I expect Miss Andrews seems pretty solid. It's all a little wishy-washy. This is another one where I'm stumped on. Oh, fuck, that's not what I meant to do. Fuck! I don't know what the fuck is... That button was torn off during his fight with Matt. And see, that's what it's tripping up on, because it shouldn't have. Because it was death by strangulation, and then stabbed. I'm gonna keep pressing. I'm just gonna do a quick read here. Fuck. Okay. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it. Which would mean that it was ripped off the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it's impossible that this was turned off during the victim's final struggle. Okay, so it was on the right, it's the wrong evidence. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Ah. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the fight struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body. Order, order. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of this, right? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Ed, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? To pin the crime on Enguarde. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Enguarde. There's no way anyone would put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. Enguarde was set up. By the real killer, of course. And the real murderer is... almost right. Who in the world is the real killer then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix? Can't let you go down yet. Not till the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. Enguarde, is... Miss Adrian Andrews. I choose you. You are the Mr. Curtis Killer. Mr. Curtis Killer. What? Order, order, order. Mr. Wright. This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All the evidence points to Miss Andrews. Oh, how preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Enguarde, naturally. The knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could easily be taken from his room. And the only one who had dinner with him, and knew which knife to take, was you. Then, what about the button that was found in Metsukakuma? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Enguarde was the real killer, there's no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. That's impressive she keeps breaking glasses and putting them on. The only person who could have put this button to Mr. Enguarde's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews. I see, then what about the empty guitar case? That is also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, well, Miss Andrews' fingerprints are nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she touched the case, they would have asked her why. So if I leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was a classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there's this photo. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Enguarde. He'd be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? But please stop. I genuinely feel bad. How about Miss Andrews? I got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Well, yes. You're absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination, by allowing the witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people could think to do on the spot. Actually, OMG, she pleaded the fifth, yeah. How's it going, Cheeto? Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Enguarde's room. Cat scream. Where's that one? No, I can't see that one very well. What is this emote? I have no idea. Adrian Andrews. Yes? And card about what we just discussed. Understood? Alright. Yeah, life. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews not to testify if things look bad. You did a good job proving everything up until this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something you haven't done. What's wrong, right? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence. What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You haven't had to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Anyway, Shida, how are you doing today? Proof Miss Andrews did, in fact, harbor a wish to murder Mr. Kurita. Oh no, we're gonna bring that out, aren't we? Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Kurita? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, or I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There was nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Yeah, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify. And the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do. As declare a recess. Recess? I request that both prosecution and defense look further into this matter. At tomorrow's trial. Tomorrow. We don't have it tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty to the verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial, please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then but it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... Oh, Edgeworth with a save. It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination, however. The topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of. That she has no right to withhold testimony. And she deserves a kiss. Go get him fixed. Yes, that is very true, but... Actually, there's one little thing I've been curious about. Miss Andrews. When you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and? I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. Nice 007 reference. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I'd like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again. As to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we found out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. When I found the body. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And when he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. So I wanted to pour him some juice. And when I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I don't think I need to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I'm so lost right now. Why are we doing here? But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not. Then who'd you pour it out for? That's right, there was a rhyme and reason for everything. Can you wait just a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, right, be quiet and listen. Precisely, I couldn't have said it better myself. So that's a messy state. So I was a mess. Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Kurita? I understand your frustrations of not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence. And then what did you see next, witness? Slumped over. Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping. It's just weird. That sound a little odd. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Then what did cross your mind? I thought maybe he had smashed everything up in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyway, that's what I thought. I see, so you didn't think he was dead at all. To be honest, I thought he just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. You thought he fainted? I thought he was asleep at first. But then the room was in such a messy state. I thought maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. That's when he went to pour the glass of juice. Yes, he always had a hard time waking up. Someone always has a glass of tomato juice to drink. I see. After that, what happened next? When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. And I actually come to realize that he was in fact dead. I checked him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take a pulse. I was shocked, and staggered backwards. I knocked the flower vase over, so that's what happened. Yes. This is what all comes down to, huh? This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Slumped over and tired looking. Sorry. I'm gonna press and read this again. Slumped over. Really looked like he was sleeping. fuck? Slumped over and sleeping. I don't know what I'm supposed to look for here. Oh, okay. I guess I was just stumped over that, like, Phoenix said, oh, it's odd. Like, don't fucking trip me up like that. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? What is the meaning of this? Isn't obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight up Miss Crota's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have had immediately thought there was a dead man. Well, you see. I know a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted. And then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is? Miss Andrews. Your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. Dude's head blown up, Andrews. Huh, they must be asleep. Yep. Oh, man, the guy's headless? And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. No! I know that should have been longer, but... It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Engarde, is not guilty after all. That's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. She looks so defenseless like that. I feel bad. Andrews is gonna do a giant backflip. Wow! It was Matt. I swear it. He was the one who killed Juan. But you're the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so is that you might end up incriminating yourself. Now that's because... Miss Andrews, I'll give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. What? Then there was no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Engarde's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. I think she's in the same situation as Phoenix. In what regard? Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict from Mr. Matt Engarde. Your Honor. Prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak about the absolute real truth. She now guessing probably because of the kidnapper guy? Maybe, but she didn't know about the card. Like, there was a card that Maya found in like a cutscene that she has, but she doesn't know what the card is for. Yeah, maybe blackmailed. I don't know. Who's to say? The absolute truth. What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Engarde will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. I am blackmailed. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Francisco von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Wait, so she is blackmailed? No, I think she was strongly intimidated by Francisca. Like she's afraid. She believes in Francisca's lies, and believes that if she doesn't say anything, then yeah. Basically, it's Von Karma that blackmailed. I guess, yeah, Von Karma did blackmail. I think. Blackmailed or strong-armed? Something of the sort. Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engarde will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging on to them. Black-armed? I guess, maybe. I don't know. Also, how's it going, mac and cheese? Strong-mailed. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, is clinging on to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever crossed anything like this. Well, Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All you have to do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me, I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone, help me. I feel like I feel terrible. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Alright, I suggest you think very carefully about this. AKA safe. Think about what this witness did, and what she did not do. And think about who's the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't it that obvious? There's no one else could it be except that woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like this. It's Manfred. Oh shit. Miss Andrews, I'd like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Engarde would get an acquittal, but in his place, he would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that Defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. What a shame. I'd hoped things wouldn't come to this. However... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Ms. Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Mr. Edgeworth? This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. He's gonna pull out a gun. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop, please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. Well, you do now, witness. You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of this pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please, please stop, I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is no concern to me. Wow. No way, he just pulled it up in an autopsy report. Give me a second here. That reminds me of the stupid video. I gotta show you guys this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to ruin the mood like this, but hold on. Where's Chrome? That's the wrong Chrome. There we go. Yeah, when you update the autopsy report. Yeah, that just reminds me of that one stupid meme. I'll shove my entire cravat up your ass because it's wrong. That's such a good meme. Did Gumpuck not tell you salary cutting noises? Oh, that shit's hilarious. If you're gonna say you choose death, that is of no concern to me. Honestly, darkest sentence he's ever said. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. So, will you tell the court yourself or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Fuck. I really hope we just didn't drive this woman to do things. Nothing matters anymore. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure that there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Mac's room. And then, I stabbed one's dead body with a knife, and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Stab the body with a knife? But why would you do that? Isn't it obvious to pin the blame on a certain person? A certain cowardly man. What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man, I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Just like last time. So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Creta, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with the murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Engarde for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? But why was Juan already dead? I think that's what we have to try to debunk. Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. I'm still kind of like upset by that. Like, I really hope we just didn't drive this woman to suicide. Fuck. Phoenix did it, yeah. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. Ah, God, I'm not gonna press on that one. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was nobody in the hallway, I made him dash back to Matt's room. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. This is what I'm confused on. An inconvenience. There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lada. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Olbeck for you. I had been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once. So I couldn't very well going out looking at myself and getting caught again. That's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. I'm just gonna press everything and see what we can get. But you could tell from the state of the room was in there must have been a fight. Are you telling you the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck. But that scarf is part of the Jamba Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. And when I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. That was so he could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife, and ripped off the button. So you're the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt look even more suspect. So I thought to rip one of the buttons off the platform in Mr. Engarde's Hakama. Yes, that is what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes. I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes. Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's biggest secret there. Now what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, that people would think that Matt was the real murderer. Now, I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anybody to know about the costume. I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Onguard's room and planted the button? Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. And then I snuck out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word. What does all this mean? Miss Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Enguard. Yesterday, that woman that prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should under no circumstances confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The awkward silence, yeah. Defense still... Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness is the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That is all. This court is adjourned for today. Shit. Today's trial. It's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wonder if I might look at one thing. The card in your hands. It had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember it at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room that day. The room? That day? Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body. I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Witness, that card. Give it to me. Hurry. The Edgeworth? Do you have any idea what have you stupidly yet inadvertently done? This, I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card, what in the world is it? And what does it mean? So, did we just lose Maya? I have fucking died. Fuck that. Oh god. Ugh. That. Oh my goodness. Honestly, this case is really fucking graphic. Like mentally. We may have just probably I don't know with this case anymore. We may have just lost Maya to fucking kidnapper murder person. And Edgeworth could have just absolutely destroyed a woman's mental health with suicide. Nothing of value was lost. It's still dark. Very, very dark. Especially since I used to struggle with that kind of thing myself. But whatever. Oh, I can't right click. Give me a second. Thanks for dropping that sauce. Guess Edgeworth lives up to his name. Oh, fuck that, bud. That is way too dark of a joke. Our boy schematics is on. We write schematics. It's too dark. We come for bird light. Anyways, I hope I can stream tomorrow if this fucking game hasn't fucked me up too hard. Jeez, it just fuck. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. It's just please stop Edgeworth. Yeah, fucking plan on it. Sorry, I'm just messed up. I hopefully be better tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have things to do. But anyhow, I have a good night, everyone, and take care. Fuck.